Hey, hi everybody. Hello folks. It tells me that we are live. So I guess we're live. I've come in a little bit early. What I'd like to do, if it's all right with you, if you can please help me out in the comments. I'm using something slightly different on my sound today. So I just need to make sure that all is working and all is sounding good. So a little bit of a sound check. First of all, is the voice a good volume? Is it nice and clear? I can turn it up a little bit if needed, but is the voice nice and clear and good in your ears or headphones or speakers or wherever? Jim Lynch says, okay here. Judy, voice is good. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so voice and just guitar without my little box of tricks. So the two together, is that a reasonable balance? If I keep talking, maybe you'll get more of an idea. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of talking while playing, but for those moments when I do, you need to hear both. Okay, people are saying that that's good as well. And the last one is with my little box of tricks, this looper pedal. If I turn this on, I need what you're hearing from that to also be balanced with my guitar. So let me turn this on first. I'm going to have just guitar, but I'm also going to blend in some bass and drums in a moment. So this is just guitar. Hopefully the two are sounding around about the same volume. Lisa says guitar could be a little bit louder. Is that mine or is it the one that's playing in the background? Loop is too low. Okay, so if I turn that up a bit. And adjust me a little. Hopefully that's a bit more balanced. And then if I bring the bass and the drums in, you should be able to hear those, not sticking out loud, but just there enough for you to hear them. Oh, Lisa said it was mine. So if I give mine a nudge, tell me all about the balance now. The looper is quieter than me. How's that? No bass or drum, I'll turn those up a bit. How's that now? Okay. I'm going to say that's about where we're going to have it out. Now the looper doesn't need to be super loud, because what we're actually going to be doing is kind of playing over it and hiding it and masking it a little bit. So thanks all for that. And yeah, we're at 7 o'clock, so let's make a start. Hello everybody, welcome to Vintage Club number 19. If you know what happened with previous ones, this is the 20th one I've delivered, but it's actually now going to be strictly called the number 19. What we're doing today is hopefully something you've seen in the preview, which is looking at what options you have got if you're ever in a situation where you're playing your guitar and there's other guitar being played. And it might be like I've got going on there, some kind of a backing track thingy on a looper, or JustinGuitar app, or some song that you love and you're playing with on Spotify or your CD player or your MP3 player or wherever it is. to actually real life situations. Let's say that you and a friend get together and you're playing some songs. So you've got the two guitars working together. Maybe you've got to the point where you want to do some kind of open mic performance, the two of you, and you're scratching your heads thinking, well, what can we do to make it a little bit different? How can we stand out from the crowd? What can we do to add interest to our performance? And then I want to talk and also give maybe some ideas for people who are even thinking in terms of guitar groups, so where there's maybe 10 or 15 of you all playing a song all at the same time. Or those of you who maybe are exploring the realms of multi-track recording, where you're putting down a bass track and a drum track and you want to have 3, 4, 5 guitar parts and your vocal on the top. Ideas for that. I sent out some preview materials, one of which was a capo conversion chart. If you haven't yet had a chance to look at it, I'm going to try and explain it. Hopefully you'll pick it up quite quickly. Hopefully you've brought capos with you and you've got your guitars with you, and hopefully you've got some writing materials to maybe make some notes. I've got some slides as well where you're going to see on screen the kind of things we're working through. I definitely want you playing along with me, or playing along if I take a break, and invite you to take over because I'm resting for a moment and you're running with it. So please do join in. I've said that this is pitch at grade 1 plus. If you're just there for that sound check, you might have seen me playing a B minor bar chord and thinking, oh, this isn't for me. I can't do a B minor bar chord. Worry not, because there are many, many ways we're going to approach these things. And one of them is looking for ways that you don't have to do bar chords if you don't know how to do bar, which is fantastic. But we're also going to be looking at bar chords and power chords and triads and all sorts of different ways of playing things other than just your regular 8 essential open chords. A minor, C, D, D minor, E minor, maybe an F major 7 or an F or a mini bar F and a G. And beyond that, what can we do? Okay, so let's go to the first slide and start to look at some of the ideas that will come into the session tonight. And I'm going to try and get through at least 3 different chord progressions stroke pieces of music. If we've got time at the end, I might take my life in my hands and try and do something live, interactive, collaborative, and leaving myself vulnerable to the fates of technology and looper pedals and all of that business, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so what we need is to take a look at this. So hopefully that's coming through nice and big on your screen. Here is just not a comprehensive, but a starting list for some of the ways that 2 people can begin to play guitar together. Let's just start with 2 people. 2 acoustic guitars, 1 song. What can you both do? One of you is maybe just playing open chords, G, D, E minor, and a G. Let's just say it's that. Okay, so somebody's going to be playing that and maybe using 1 strum per bar, 4 strums per bar, Old Faithful, whatever it be. Well, the other person could, of course, play those exact same chords, but look to develop some different kind of strumming pattern, some rhythm pattern, or a style of playing those chords that isn't just matching what the other person is doing. And this is the whole thrust of what we're thinking about tonight. The purpose is to try and avoid stepping on somebody else's toes. If they're playing Old Faithful, you really don't want to be doing Old Faithful too. It's just a little bit easy and lame, but also it's prone to sounding a little bit Because if your timing isn't perfect, there's going to be that slight mismatch between your downs and your ups and your friend's down and your friend's ups, to the point that it'll sound like muddy and lose all clarity in the chords. And you don't really want that. So if your friend is doing Old Faithful and you still want to hold that chord, that's all right. Maybe develop a different rhythm style. I've talked about this in previous sessions. What I was doing there was thicky, thinny, but with some muting, and I was making it a little bit staccato. Something like that. And I'm not stepping on the toes of the person who's maybe leading the song and singing the song. I'm complementing and accompanying. You can use a capo. So, okay, capo, if your friend is playing a G chord, where are you going to put your capo so that you're also playing a G chord? Because if you put it here and you play a, that's not a G chord. Oh dear, what are we going to do? We need to know where to put it and what chord shape will make the sound of a G chord. And that's what the capo conversion chart is going to help us with. So I've put it at fret 5 there. My friend's playing a G chord. I'm thinking, oh, right. Hey, that's a G chord. Brilliant, because I know that capo 5 and a D shape chord is a G chord. Wonderful. I can join in. I can do something different. And in using the capo and pitching my chords higher with a different voicing, I've separated the two of us so that we are not clashing. We're not getting that muddled sound of stepping on each other's toes. You can use bar chords or power. Now what I'll do is I'll show you power chords for the progressions we're looking at. And I'll focus initially on string 6 as the root for these, because if anybody also knows their E-shape bar chords, me showing you those power chords tells you where the bar chords would be. So let's say a G power chord. I'll do a 2-string one. There. I could do a 3-string one. It's got a little bit of a fuller sound. I could do a G bar chord, E shape. Okay. So power chords and bar chords initially on string 6 root, because they're going to occupy the same frets. Chord fragments. Now you'll see what I mean by this when we get there, but essentially, okay, let's take that E shape bar chord G, and if I take a fragment of it, it might just be those 2 strings. It's what my little finger and my second finger are holding down within that chord, but if I peel them away, I might keep that there, but swap little finger for third finger. It's sounding like a G chord, but it's a fragment of one. Triads I've done several sessions on, so you won't be surprised to see those in. Arpeggiating chords, or triads, it could be. So let's say we go back to that open G chord and somebody's playing this, so you might go and just have something that doesn't sound the same. Or you might do that but with the other opportunities that you've got by using capo or using chord fragments or bar chords or wherever it be. Thirds and sixths as well I've put in there, but I'm not sure how much time we'll get to look at those today. Thirds and sixths are basically sometimes called double stop thirds or double stop sixths. So a third for G is like a fragment of a G chord. Those or those. And a sixth would be those. So it's a little bit more melodic, and you can do all sorts of things with thirds and sixths that are really nice. Okay, Let's just come off that for a minute. Now, I want to remember, I've got to remind myself that your chat runs about 20 seconds or so behind me. So I'm just going to say, if you've got any questions or any comments at any point, please put them in the chat, and if and when they catch my eye, I'll sort of mark them for myself, either to answer straight away or to come back to. I hadn't made myself full screen. Sorry about that. Right, so I'm hoping that you're ready to get stuck into this. As I say, we've got 3 pieces of music, sort of loosely, 3 chord progressions, and I'm building them up. So the first one is a 2 chord progression, the second one is a 3 chord progression, and the third one is a 4 chord progression. I loosely took this idea from a survey I did in the JustinGuitar community of asking people what are their favourite campfire strum-along-y easy chord songs, and I took all those results and analysed them, and you know, there were some that were so popular they were getting like 10, 11, 12 people mentioning them. I was able to group them and kind of put them into categories of, some were just 2 chord simples, some were just 3 chord, 1, 4, 5 chord things that you've probably seen in your blues, your rock and roll and other things. And some of them were variations on the Axis of Awesome 4 chord progression that we're going to look at as well later on. Let's start with a 2 chorder. And I wanted to do a 2 chord progression that uses a minor chord on purpose. This is where I don't want anybody who can't do the bar chords yet not to worry, because the 2 chords are going to be basically 1 bar on A major and 1 bar on B minor, and then the same again, and then it repeats and it repeats and it goes round and round and round in a loop. So let's just look at that on my progression there. Now what I've done underneath those chord names is given them a Roman numeral, a 1 and a 2. Uppercase for major chords, lowercase for minor chords. If this was the Nashville numbering system, it would just say 1 and 2, or it might say 1 major, 2 minor. Okay, so we've got a 1 chord and a 2 chord. That's what you were hearing in the sound check. So I'm going to put that on now, just the guitar, and what you're going to be hearing is, I want you to imagine this is your friend, and your friend says, hey, I've got this song I want to do. It's A, B minor, and he starts playing Old Faithful. And you want to have options for what to do besides knowing what a bar chord B minor is and playing Old Faithful. So let's get this on. Let's get used to the sound of this. It's very slow actually as well. I'd forgotten how slow it is. Okay, so what are the options that we can have? Well, let's take a look at the capo conversion chart. This is where hopefully you're going to start to understand it if you don't already. We are in the key of A. A is the 1 chord and B minor is the 2 chord. So when we go to the capo conversion chart, I've put a little blue square around A over at the right hand side of that pentagon. And I've put yellow boxes around the A 1 chord and the B minor 2 chord. And this is showing me that if I want to play those exact same chords, staying in the same key, I can go clockwise, capo up 2 frets, and my A chord, being the 1 chord, is now going to be achieved by playing a G shape. I'll wait till it comes back. So A, that's on a G shape. And my B minor chord is now going to be available to me with an A minor shape. No bars. Okay, already we found something fantastic. Capo 2. A major looking like a G shape, B minor looking like an A minor shape. And I want you to start joining in with me. If you've already got that capo there, brilliant. If you want to play Old Faithful to match this, do it. I'm going to not do that. I'm going to try and do something different. So hopefully what you're hearing with me playing over the top of my friend playing Old Faithful open position chords is that the guitars have been separated, and this is adding an extra dimension, some colour to the sound. It's not all we can do. Let's go back to this. If we go from capo fret 2 and keep moving clockwise around this chart, it tells us that the next move would take us up another 3 frets. So it says +3. So that means I'm going from 2 up to now fret 5 with my capo. And for my 1 chord, which is A, I need to play the shape of an E. Okay. Just wait till it comes back around again. There's my A. It's an E-shaped chord. And for my 2 chord, I need a bar chord, don't I? Yeah, F sharp minor. I'm going to pause it there because didn't I say the whole point of this was to not have to use bar chords? Well, maybe some of you have seen this. If not, this is really nice. So we've got E and yeah, F sharp minor. It's an E-shaped minor bar chord. You might not want to use it. But you can play something that looks like this that sounds like an F sharp minor. It's actually an F sharp minor with lots of bits at the end of the name. It's an extension. Let me show you the fingering for that. 2 above the capo on the 3rd string. And then 4 above the capo on the 5th and 4th strings. I'm not playing this string. Mute it somehow. 2 thinner strings are open. And the way I like to go between an E major shape chord and this is sliding back like that. So I'm not using my index finger on the E shape. I'm doing it as though it was a bar chord. That's what that sounds like. And that just as a standalone, I think that's really sweet. It's got a really lovely sound to it. Now, if that matches the song that you're playing, fantastic. You've got something new to use. Let's see if it does. There's the minor. Now, I'm doing Old Faithful there, but I could do something different. And I could come back on the bridge to get some twang. Okay, so there's something else you can do. Now, we've got one more move we can make on this. I'm not going to go beyond fret 7 for our capo at all today. I'm going to put that artificial limitation because it gets a bit awkward. But it's saying we can go another 2 frets up. If you look, we can keep going clockwise, and it now says if I go 2 more frets, so I'm now at fret 7, the 1 chord is a D shape. Aha, it's A. Hooray! It's a D shape, but it's an A chord. And my 2 chord, the minor, is an E minor shape. Let's go. Just go full screen. Okay, I'm going to pause and I want you to keep playing with a little recap on the capo. Fret 7, D shape, E minor shape. Fret 5, E shape, F sharp minor if you want it, or if you've got this one learned, the F sharp minor extension, blah de blah. Or if you want to just go back down to, oh sorry, no, capo 3. No, capo 2. I'm getting myself mixed up, sorry. We've got G and A minor shapes. I knew something would go wrong, it was my capo, sorry. Try again. G shape, A minor. So I'm going to be quiet and I want you to go with one or other of those options or just the open chords. And as you're playing, I'm going to start introducing some drums and bass. Just pretend you're now in a band. Somebody's joined your little get together and is doing some percussion for you. Here's a little bit of bass guitar. Somebody else has joined your little party. Okay, we're going to take those out and now move on to some other ideas that we can do with this. So I'll just pause that and you can focus on what I'm saying. So we've got some bullet points here. Capo 2, Capo 5, Capo 7 we've discussed. Bar chords and power chords. So it's A and it's B minor. Power chords, I'm going to say I'd do them on root 6. So that's frets 5 and 7 for the A and then the B minor respectively. Here we go. I'm going to do muted all down 8s. Join in with this. If you know where these power chords are somewhere else on the guitar, brilliant, go for it. I'm going to start doing bar chords after this round. E-shaped bar chords. And again, what I've done now is just altered the rhythm, because I don't have to play the strumming pattern that my friend's playing. Bit of thicky thinny. Maybe you want to add a little bit of a reggae feel to it. Okay, loads of options. What else have we got written in there? The D, G, B triads with open E string. So let me show you. I've just come up with a few ideas here. for things you might be able to do. DGB, so when I've said DGB tries, that's on strings 4, 3 and 2. And we've got an A major and a B minor. So an A major triad, if I just go back again to this this A bar chord, what I've got underneath all of those hit fingers kind of hidden away on strings 4, 3 and 2 is this thing. You'll recognize it if you know how to play F major 7. It's the exact same shape on the exact same strings. There's an A major triad. And I can add in the open E string because it's in the chord. And then I don't want to play the B minor bar chord. My friend's playing that, but I might play, sorry, I went to the wrong place. Those, and add in that open E string as well. Now, well, that's not in the chord, but it's just going to add some interest. So it might be like this. And it's got a floaty feel. So let's try that. I'll repeat that again. 7, 6, 5, open. 7, 6, 5, open. And then for my B minor, 4, 4, 3, open. Okay, I'm going to stop and remind you that you can still do your capo chords, you can still do your power chords, your bar chords, you can still do your open chords and maybe arpeggiate them if you want. Or you can be doing this. Strumming them, arpeggiating them. However you want to take it. There's something else you can do instead of coming down here to this B minor, which is what your friend is playing, it's in the same territory. You could play a little chord fragment using just 2 strings, which means going up from this A with your 3rd finger from 7 to 9 on the 4th string, drop your index finger on fret 7 on the 3rd string, and have the open B and E string ringing out as well. I'll tell you what that is again. 9th fret on the 4th string, 7th fret on the 3rd string, and that's it. I'm not using the 2 thick strings. That's my B minor chord. There it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just bring up the next page again and say go for it. We'll let this run for a minute while you play any version that you like whatsoever, with a little bit of drum and bass as well. finish it there. Right, so that's chord progression 1, piece of music number 1. It's slow, it's 2 chords, but there's still lots that we can do with it. We're going to go a little bit more up-tempo with the next one, and we're going to introduce a 3rd chord. It's going to be a 3-chord song. Wait, all majors. Let's take a look at what we have got. Progression number 2. G, C, D, C. Hey, who hasn't played this? These chords, I should say, not this, these chords were in about 20 of the songs that people put into that list. It's unbelievably common. And again, if this was just Old Faithful, so your friend tells you he wants to play a song or she wants to play a song. They want to play a song. You've got more than one friend. And they're playing this. And you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to play that as well because it's just going to be a bit near. I want to do something different. Okay, what is it that we could possibly do? Well, we can think to ourselves, the chords are 1, 4, 5 in the key of G. If you look at that, I've put a blue box around G because we are in the key of G, and that's what we're thinking all the time. 1, 4, 5. If we move clockwise and go 3 frets with our capo, the 1 chord is now an E shape. And the 4 chord is now an A shape. Ah, look, the 5 chord is a B. It's a bar chord. Sucks. Maybe I won't use that one after all. Maybe I'll keep going clockwise around this chart. Let's see what it says. Another 2 frets on my capo. So that's going to take me to fret 5. And what have we got that we could possibly use here? Okay, the 1 chord is a D shape. I can do that, no problem. The 4 chord is a G shape. Yep, no problem. And the 5 chord is an A shape. Fantastic. So we're going 1, 4, 5, 4, D shape, and then 4 chord is a G shape, and the 5 chord is an A shape, and the 4 chord is back to G shape. Okay, let's hear what we're going to play with. Like I said, this is your friend playing this. So that's the G chord, that's the 1 chord. So on the 1 chord, I'm going to help play this. 4 chord, 5 chord, 4 chord. So, if you don't remember what's going on, just watch my chord changes here. Find your own strumming pattern. Get used to that. Keep going. Okay, we can do something else. We can keep going around the chart. And it now says if we go from where we've reached and another 2 places up, another 2 frets up. So we've got to 3 plus 2 plus 2, fret 7. The 1 chord, which is G, remember we're in the key of G, is now going to be a C shape. Look at that 1 chord in the yellow box at the top of the diagram. And the 4 chord is an F shape. Well, if you can't play an F mini bar or full bar, go with an F major 7, it's all the same really. And the 5 chord is now a G shape. It might be a little bit squishy in here, fret 7, but see if we can get it. I'm playing F major 7. You could do F mini bar, you could do F full bar. Let's try this. F shape. I could leave my little finger up top for all of those chords. And this is really separating my sound from what my friend is playing, because that note can't be achieved down in the open position. Keep going. Or if you want to go back to capo fret 5, remember the shapes for that were D, G and A. Okay, capo off. Power chords, bar chords. What have we got in the background playing? Let's see if we can remember. G, C, D, C. Okay. Quite a bit of sliding. Bar chords. I'm going to let you take on yourself, choose your way of playing it. Here's a bit of drum and bass. Okay, so what I was doing there was just taking those open chords, going back to them and arpeggiating them again. And that also works, but it leads me on to suggesting one other thing that I came up with thinking about it, is focusing only on the 4 thinnest strings. So G chord, I don't need strings 6 and 5, I can just go like that. And if I keep my little finger there and put these 2 fingers in, and I'm ignoring string 5, that's a fragment of a C chord, And then if I move it up 2 frets, that's a fragment of a D chord, although I've got an open G string ringing out. So it's a D chord with a little bit of spice added. We would call it an 11. So I can start to strum them or arpeggiate them. And that shape, I'm just sliding up, that's all I'm doing. Let's try that with the backing track. G. Okay, I'm going to go to the next slide while this plays, because it's going to show you these options plus a few others that you might want to keep going as we've got this track playing. So you've seen the various ideas. I'll play through a few. I want you to be playing through whichever one grabs your fancy, or more than one if you like. So we'll let this run for another minute or two. A little bit of drum and bass. Chris Eve is asking, when I arpeggiate, what order was I picking the strings? I made it up, Chris, let me think. 4, 2, 3, 1. 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1. 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1. But that's just, I made it up on the spot, literally. You could arpeggiate them in any way you want. I was playing 8s all the way through. You could make a mixture of 8s and quarters, so some are lasting a bit longer. Something like that, maybe. Okay, another 30 seconds or so. Okay, so that's our second progression. I didn't get to explore all the ideas that I'd kind of mapped out and planned out, but we've certainly got plenty to chew on and go at. Maybe more than you can sort of take on board in the short time that we're looking at this. So this is definitely something that you're going to hopefully take away and absorb and try and explore and experiment. Such as the question there, what arpeggiating pattern was I using? I did 4, 2, 3, 1. Because it just fell in my lap. I just came to it. On a different day, I would have maybe arpeggiated differently. There's a question here from David Gadway that I'm going to answer now, because he's saying, will there be a link to the capo chart or the materials? He didn't get the email. So yes, all the way up at the very, very top of the chat, before I started, I put in 3 links to places where you can access these. One of them is the community topic chat itself. One of them is another community topic where I did a whole topic on the tips of using a capo to stay in the same key. So those 2 links, if you're in the WhatsApp group, there's a link in there as well. And after the fact, the archive, the lesson archive, will be in there, but it's immediately available in those places. So that's where you can find it. Right, let's move on. Let's look at our third chord progression. It's the axis of awesome. So hopefully you've all heard of and know something about this. Oops, gone past it. We're doing it in the key of C. So we've got C. I'm doing 2 bars on G. 2 bars. Every chord is 2 bars. A minor, some kind of an F. So if you can't do the bar, go for whatever kind you've got. This is such a familiar progression. It's in millions of songs. And this is what we've got going for our backing track. So let's hear this. Got a little bit of speed to it. The 1564. It's Old Faithful with an upstrum at the end as well. Everybody knows what that sounds like. So let's look at the options we've got. Okay, we're in the key of C. So C on the pentagon has got the blue box around it this time. The 1, 4, 5 and 6 chords are the yellow boxes in the key of C. But if we move the capo up 2 frets, we could play it using those shapes, A, D, E, F sharp minor. Let's bypass that because I know I talked about that alternative F sharp minor, but we're just going to skip past it. Let's go another, sorry, I said 2 frets, it's 3 frets. Let's go another 2 frets. So ultimately we're arriving at fret 5, 3 plus 2. And our 1 chord, which is C, is now going to be a G shape. That's what it says in the box down bottom right. G shape for the 1 chord. Then it goes to the 5 chord. D shape, 5 chord, 1 to 5, G to D shapes. Then it goes to the 6, the minor. So it's an E minor shape. And then it goes to the 4, C. So I'll give you one moment to get used to reading that bottom right chart. 1, 5, 6 and 4. Reading the shapes. And here's the backing track to play along with. I can't help myself, I immediately go to play a different rhythm with a different strumming pattern and a different attack. So I'm not playing Old Faithful, I'm playing something completely different. Maybe just doing a single strum, but I'm raking near the bridge to get that twang. And I'm adding some embellishments. The beauty of keeping open position chord shapes, if you haven't already discovered, is you can lift and put different fingers down to embellish. So on a G shape, if you've never done that before, because I'm playing weak finger G here, index finger on 1 fret above the capo, 2nd string. D shape, I'm going through my sus4, sus2. Little finger down for sus4, 2nd finger off for sus2. E minor, well I didn't do anything with that, but I could have gone to E minor 7, And the C, a classic move is to lift your second finger and put it back down. So let's keep, if you've got the capo there and you're happy there, we'll go with that and try doing some of these embellishments. I'm going to take my capo off and now do power chords, root 6 power chords. So what am I playing? C, G, A minor, F, C, G, A minor, F. Now I'm going to go for bar chords. Oops, sorry. I went to the A minor too soon. Keep going. Capo, power chords, bar chords, anything you like. Okay, I've just got one more thing to talk about. It's the last bullet point there, because I've mentioned the other two. And again, I've got triads coming in here on D, G, B strings or G, B, E strings. If you don't know your triads, then hopefully some of the other ideas for this one that you've seen will serve you just as well. But if you do know your triads, well, we've got a few options here. C triad, where could that be? It could be here. It's coming out of that shape, but I'm not going to teach all of these things. So C, G, and then we've got an A minor, and then an F. That's not the tempo, but you could do that with those triads. What else could you do? You could do these triads. C, G, A minor. You'll know this shape because it looks like a D minor. F. If you know those, fantastic. I'm going to mix and match, so if you want to try and follow me. Otherwise, just use what you've already seen and what you can already do. Let's have a bit of drum and bass. We're going to run this for about 2 more minutes. I'll just go full screen so you can see it better. G, A minor, C, G, A minor, F. Okay, a host of ideas, off you go, I'm going to stop. Okay, another 30 seconds. The bassist has left. The drummer's got to go too. It's just you and your friend. Last time. Okay, I hope this has been fun. I hope you've picked up at least one thing, and if you've picked it up but you thought, oh, we've moved on really quickly, I didn't quite understand that, I'll get that, I'd like to spend more time on it. There's going to be a recording. Hopefully that will give the opportunity to look back at it and pause, rewind, revisit, slow it down. On the recording as well, the graphics will show, and you'll see that not every idea that I kind of came up with for the 3 chord progressions I actually demonstrated and played through, but most of them I did. And there's, like I say, this is just scratching the surface. There's so much more that you can do if you know your capo position. Use my capo conversion chart. I've put a little copyright thing on that. I created that, and I don't want anybody stealing my thing, because copyright has been a bugbear of mine these last few weeks, because my last blues, in the Triads in the Blues thing, was hit with a copyright by YouTube by 4 different people for a backing track that I created and composed. I wasn't happy about that. So I created the capo conversion chart. It's mine. Use that. If you don't know your triads, well, you've got a million things to learn there, because triads are a fantastic little rabbit hole to go down. And the chord fragments is, again, something to explore, which comes from knowing your bar chords. If you don't know your bar chords, use your power chords. Just learn them on the 6th string to begin with. And you're away. You've got different ideas for things you could do when you're playing with somebody else. Right, any questions? Start throwing your questions into the mix, please. I've already got a few that I've starred, so let's bring those in. Okay, this is from Mike Thompson. Is it possible to use this technique with other keys other than those shown, i.e. F? All right, so if you didn't notice, the capo conversion chart, it's based around a pentagon. C-A-G-E-D, cage chord shapes, because C major, A major, G major, E major, and D major are, of the 7 letter names we use in music, they are the 5 chords that we can play as a major chord in open position. The missing ones are B and F. For B, you need some kind of a bar chord. For F, as I'm sure most of you know, you need some kind of a bar chord. So if you've got a song that is in the key of F, but you're thinking, I want to play this trick with it, here's what you can do. Think to yourself, well, F, what shape am I using? I am using an E shape. Okay, so my starting position with the capo conversion chart would be looking at the E, the key of E, and pretend that E is actually an F. It's like your one chord. And so then what you're going to do from there is think, well, I want to play with a capo, maybe 3 frets, 5, 7 frets up, whatever it is, and then use that as your start point. I'd go through an entire thing with you now, but I think it would take a bit long because we've already hit time. Shall I do that in the community topic? I'll pick a song that's, so like F, B flat and C. That would be the 1, 4, 5 chords in the key of F. I could do the Axis of Awesome progression in the key of F. And I'll show you how the capo chart works when you're not in C, A, G, E or D, because it can. You just got to maneuver it a little bit. Okay, thanks, Mike. From Alfio. About the bar chords, I can't get all of the strings to sound, but as long as the 3 primary notes sound, is that sufficient? Well, you want to work on your bar chord technique, Alfio, for sure. I did a session, a Vintage Club session on bar chords, and let's say we're going fret 5, A major. One of the crucial things I talked about was index finger, you kind of roll it back on itself a little bit, so it's on its edge. It's not on the flat, fleshy bit of your finger, but you lean it back over, so it's more on the bony edge. And that allows you, even without the other fingers, to get 6 strings ringing out. So that's a way you can develop that technique. But also, you're absolutely right. Within this shape, those 3 strings, without the bar, that's giving me the sound of an A chord. I showed you this one earlier, this shape. Those 3 strings, no bar, that's the sound of an A chord. There's this one here, I've got a bar 2 strings and reach over here. That's the sound of an A. Okay, so you can do mini micro fragments of chords that are coming out of those shapes that you're struggling with. Okay, from On Time, 1969. The triads are so huge for ska and reggae. Okay, yeah, I did a little bit of something. So what was the progression? Was it G, C and D? So G, C, D if we're doing bar chords. G, C, D if we're not doing bar chords. Triads. G, C and D triads played with that little reggae feel to them. Good spot. Any more questions lurking in the comments? Okay, I'm going to put this one on from Chris. I haven't been able to get a jamming buddy near me, so I really think I've got to get a looper pedal. And the other things are very complimentary, so thank you for that, Chris. What I've got here is not your plain old standard looper pedal. It's actually something called a Digitech Trio Plus. It's not the only one of its type, but it's a looper pedal and a bass and drum band in a box type thing. So to feed something into this, all you basically do is think, right, what's my chord progression? It might be C, D, E minor, D. And you play those in a nice simple way. Whatever it is, and the technology listens to what you're playing and it suggests a drum track and a bass track to go along with that, and then you can start looping unlimited loops on top. It's unbelievably good, but they're not cheap. Right, Miles is agreeing, Chris. He says, the, with capitals, most important. pedal. It's not an effect. It's a learning and playing tool. You'll have endless hours of fun with it. And it doesn't have to be with a looper pedal that you create a chord backing track and then start improvising lead guitar. You can create a chord backing track and play more rhythm, as you've just seen. Any lead guitar tonight, it wasn't about that. It was about what else you can do to play guitar that's serving the rhythm of the song. Okay, I think that's a wrap. I don't see any more questions. If you do have an urgent question, a follow-up question, anytime, type of query or comment, again, right at the top of the chat, and so it'll be like #1 comments in the YouTube when it comes out. Links to the community topics, and I've also put a link in there to one of Justin's lessons, which is jamming for 2, capo for beginners, or a capo for jamming, or whatever it's called. It's that. It's marked as a grade 3 topic, but those in grades 1 and 2, maybe you've seen enough now to think that you can begin to bring some of these ideas into what you do, because the chord requirement isn't anything additional to these 8 essential beginner chords and knowing where to go with a capo. Okay, that's it. I'm going to wrap up and go on and get something to eat and chill for the evening. Thanks all for coming. Great to have you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.